about preparing for long division. So in third grade, you learned a lot about multiplication and division and just your basic facts, right? Like 5 times 2 equals 10, or 10 divided by 5 equals 2. So our basic facts are really our foundation for understanding long division. So I want you to go ahead and take a look at the 2 images that I have on the screen right now, and we're just going to prepare our minds for long division. And really what long division is it's just dividing larger numbers. And there's a process and there's steps, and don't worry, we will learn them all. So taking a look at the pictures on the left-hand side of your screen, I have 3 division problems. Now, I want to be clear as to what each number represents. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in and move over just a little bit so we can go ahead and take a look at this. So for the first image, it says 20 divided by 4. Now, 20 is our total. Okay, 20 is our total, and 20 is what we call in long division, and when we are dividing, 20 is our dividend. Go ahead and echo that word for me, dividend. So 20 is our total. It's how many stars, in this case, we have. We have 20 total stars, and our word dividend represents the total. And we're going to divide those 20 stars into groups of 4. And these groups of 4 represent our divisor. So go ahead and echo that word for me, divisor. Awesome job. So we have the dividend and we have the divisor. Our dividend is our big, large number. Okay, it's our total. Our divisor is our smaller number. It's what we are dividing by. So in this case, we have a total of 20 stars. We're dividing it up into groups of 4. So I'm going to start to circle my groups of 4, and I encourage you to pause the video and draw these 20 stars out on your paper and go ahead and circle groups of 4 as well. So here's my first group of 4. Here's another group of 4. My next group of 4, and I'm just circling my groups of 4 stars here. All right, awesome. So I've used all my stars and I was able to create equal groups of 4. So now let's figure out how many groups did we create. Let's count. We created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different equal groups. So our answer to this division problem is 5. 20 divided by 4 equals 5. Now you might be saying to yourself, oh, I remember when we learned our multiplication facts, I know that 4 times 5 equals 20, or 5 times 4 equals 20, because we know with our multiplication facts, we can switch those numbers around. So 5 times 4 or 4 times 5 is equal to 20. So we know that multiplication is related to addition. If we know our multiplication facts, we automatically know our division facts. So 20 divided by 4 equals 5. 5 is the answer to this division problem. And 5 is also what we call our quotient. Go ahead and echo that word, quotient, for me. So a quotient is the answer to a division problem. Awesome job. So we've taken our total, which is our dividend of 20, and divided them up into equal groups of 4. The most important thing about division is making sure that you are creating equal groups. So I can't have a group of 3, a group of 4, a group of 5. No, I need to make sure that I look at my divisor. My divisor is going to tell me how many need to be in each group. My quotient will tell me then how many groups I'm going to have. Let's take a look at letter B and letter C. We'll do letter B together, and then I'll encourage you to do letter C on your own. So we have 16 divided by 2. What's the dividend here? 16. Very good job. 16 is our dividend. It's our total. We have 16 total buttons. And our divisor is going to tell us how many equal groups of 2 can we make, because our divisor is 2. So I'm going to create equal groups of 2. So let's go ahead and circle together equal groups of 2. Twos. All right, all of my buttons were able to be put into groups of 2. And now let's count how many groups of 2 we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 equal groups of 2. So 16 divided by 2 equals 8. This would be me saying, if I am sitting down at my table and I'm sharing these buttons with another friend, I'm putting one in their pile, I'm putting one in my pile, right? So we could also say that 16 divided by 8 is equal to 2. And I could represent that in a different way. If I wanted to say 16 divided by 8, because we know our fact families, right? And we know that we can switch around our divisor, in this case, in our quotient. If I wanted to represent 16 divided by 8, what I could do, let me change this up just a little bit so you can see the connection. I could take these 16 buttons that I have, and I can just make a group of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's one group of 8. And here's my second group of 8. So 16 divided by 8 equals 2. I can clearly see my 2 groups of 8 buttons. All right, and then the last one, letter C, I encourage you to go ahead and pause the video right now and do this one on your own. Go ahead and, you don't have to draw out milk cartons. If you just want to draw little circles or stars or tally marks, and solve for what 24 divided by 8 would be. And then I want you to think about what multiplication fact helped you in solving this problem. All right, so I hope that you wrote this down in your notebook and you're ready to go. So we have 28 total milk cartons, juice cartons, whatever's in the side of those cartons. 24 is our dividend, and we're dividing it by 8. 8 is our divisor. So our divisor is going to tell us how many are going to be in each group. So I'm going to start to create groups of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's one group. Here's another group of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here's my last group of 8. So I was able to, and I'm really hoping that when you did this on your paper, that you were also able to get 3 groups of 8. So 24 divided by 8 equals 3. Awesome job. Anybody think of a multiplication fact that helped them solve this problem? I thought about 8 times 3 equals 24. So if you're ever stuck and you're thinking, oh man, I don't know what 24 divided by 8 is, think about it. What do you multiply by 8 to get 24? And your answer is 3. So that means our quotient here is 3. Awesome job, guys. So I encourage you, I'm going to scroll over here, and I encourage you to go ahead and try number 1 and 2 on your own of equal groups. So you will have a certain number and you're going to create equal groups with long division. Okay, go ahead and pause this video. Go ahead and try this on your own. This is something that we really focused on in 3rd grade, and we're still going to focus on it in 4th grade. Okay. Now that you've tried doing the equal groups on your own, I want to shift gears just a little bit because I want you to think about what happens when you can't make an equal group. So what happens if you have a problem that you're unable to make equal groups? You might have some left over. So we're going to shift ourselves over here to really preparing for long division. And we're going to think about, okay, what happens if I have a total, I have my dividend, and I can't make equal groups with my divisor? What we need to do is we need to get as close as we can to that dividend without going over. And that might sound kind of weird to you right now, but once we start this, I guarantee you'll start to pick it up. So If I'm trying to prepare my mind for long division, I actually am going to use multiplication because we know that multiplication and division are related to each other. So let's take a look at these examples. So right here, I have the number 23, okay? And what I'm thinking to myself is, well, 23 is my dividend. It's my total. And if I wanted to break it up into groups of 6, well, there's nothing that you can multiply by 6 that will get you exactly 23, right? Let's think about it. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times 4 is 24, which is too much because it's greater than 23, right? So we need to think about how can we get as close as we can to our number without going over? So 6 times 3 would be as close as I can get to 23 without going over because 6 times 3 is equal to 18, right? So I want us to start thinking and using this language because this is really going to help us when we're preparing for numbers that we cannot create equal groups with. So here's another example. 8 times 4 is as close to 33 as we can get without going over. Because if you think about it, 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40, which is too much, right? I'm trying to get as close as I can to 33 without going over. So if I were to draw this out and I were to draw out my 33 stars or my 33 circles or my 33 tally marks and create groups of 8, I would only be able to create 4 equal groups of 8. And I would actually have 1 left over because if I was able to make 8 groups of 4 or 4 groups of 8, that's a total of 32. And I have 1 left that doesn't get to go into an equal group. Okay, so that's kind of what we're thinking about here. So 9 times blank is as close to 58 as I can get without going over. So let's think about our 9 times tables. 58's a larger number, so maybe I'll start with thinking about, oh, okay, let me start with 9 times 5 because 9 times 5 I know is 45. It's close to 58, but let's see if we can get closer. How about 9 times 6? 9 times 6 is 54. Even closer. All right, let's try 9 times 7. 9 times 7 is 63. Too big. We are just trying to get as close as we can to this number 58 without going over. So what do you think it would be? 9 times 6. Very good job, guys. 9 times 6 is as close as I can get to 58 without going over. Let's look at number 2. 5 times blank is as close as I can get to 54 without going over. So 5 times something. I need to get as close as I can to 54. Okay, let's think about this. Let's count by our 5s, right? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 40, 45, 50. Oh, I'm really close. Let's try one more. 55. Wait a second. Big stop sign. 55 is larger than 54, right? So 5 times 11 got us to 55. We got to go backwards one. 5 times 10 is equal to 50. That is as close as I can get to 54 without going over, because if I go to 5 times 11, that's 55, which is too much. So I am going to stick with 5 times 10. 5 times 10 is as close as I can get to 54 without going over. All right, let's try 2 more together, and then I'll encourage you to do the rest on your own. So again, we're thinking about preparing our minds for long division by using multiplication because, hint, hint, multiplication is so important when you're doing long division. All right, let's think about 4 times blank is as close to 38 as I can get without going over. So let's think about our 4 times tables. And if you need to write them down, please write them down. If you need to look at your multiplication chart, go for it. But I'm just going to think about my times tables. Or we can skip count, right? 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12. I'm nowhere close. I got to keep going, right? 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20, getting closer. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. Okay, I'm getting closer. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 9 is 36. I'm so close. So 4 times 9 is 36. All right, let's see. 4 times 10 is 40, which is too much, right? So we're going to stick with 4 times 9. 4 times 9 is as close as I could get to 38 without going over. Now, I want you to pause for a second. If 4 times 9 is 36, how many would you have left over that would not fit into an equal group? If 4 times 9 is 36 and you have a total of 38, you were able to group 36 of, let's say, your pieces of candy. How many pieces of candy would you have left over? You would have 2 pieces of candy left over. I want you to imagine that you have your 38 pieces of candy in front of you and you grouped them and you were able to group 4 groups of 9. That's 36. Well, you're going to have 2 little Tootsie Rolls or whatever your piece of candy is, Twizzlers, still left over, right? And we call that leftover amount something. We actually call it our remainder because it's what is remaining. It's what's left over that wasn't able to fit into a group. And we're going to talk about that next time. All right, last one we're going to do together, and then I will ask that you do the rest of these on your own for some practice. 8 times blank is as close to 65 as you can get without going over. So let's think about our 8 times tables. I'm going to have you think about it, whether you need to write it down, whether you need to check your chart, or if you just know your 8 times tables. What can you multiply by 8 that can get you as close as you can to 65 without going over? Shout it out when you're ready. All right, let's check. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 9, that's 72, which is too much, right? So it's going to be 8 times 8. 8 times 8 is as close as you can get to 65 without going over. Wonderful job today, guys. I encourage you to go ahead and try 5, 6, 7, and 8 on your own. Pause the video, and when you unpause it, you'll see the answers pop up just so you can check your work. All right, guys, I hope that you got the answers right. We have 4 times 3 is as close as we can get to 15. 2 times 8 is as close as we can get to 17. 6 times 6 is as close as we can get to 38. And 10 times 10 is as close as we can get to 104. Awesome job. I love that we're preparing ourselves for long division, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Hope you guys have a great day.